Have you ever noticed that some of the most famous people in the Bible also have the most mysterious stories? Take Moses, for example. Most people know the big moments, how he parted the sea, received the Ten Commandments, and led Israel out of slavery in Egypt. But hidden inside the Bible are details about Moses that many people completely overlook.
Strange moments.
Surprising facts, and even a few mysteries that might change the way you see him. Today, we're uncovering 7 things you probably never knew about Moses. And trust me, number 4 is one of the strangest moments in the entire Bible. Let's begin. 1. Moses was raised as Egyptian royalty. Most people remember Moses as the man who led Israel to freedom. But before he became a prophet, he was actually raised like a prince of Egypt. As a baby, Moses was rescued from the Nile River by Pharaoh's daughter. Instead of being raised by Hebrew slaves, he grew up inside the Egyptian palace. That means Moses likely received the best education in the ancient world, learning Egyptian language, government, military strategy, and leadership. In fact, Acts 7 verse 22 says, Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Think about that. The man God would later use to confront Pharaoh was trained in the same royal system he would eventually challenge. And that royal upbringing would prepare him for something much bigger. But his life was about to take a dramatic turn. 2. Moses became a fugitive for 40 years. One day Moses saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Angered by the injustice, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body. But the next day, the secret was out. Pharaoh wanted him dead. So Moses fled all the way to Midian, where he lived as a shepherd for 40 years. Think about the shift. He went from palace life to desert life, from royalty to tending sheep. But this wilderness season wasn't wasted. It was preparation, because God often shapes leaders in hidden places before bringing them into public purpose. And it was in this quiet desert that Moses encountered something unforgettable. 3. The burning bush wasn't just a miracle, it was a mission. While watching sheep near Mount Horeb, Moses saw something that stopped him in his tracks. A bush was burning, but not being consumed. This moment is recorded in the book of Exodus, and it's one of the most powerful encounters in the Bible. From that burning bush, God spoke to Moses and called him to deliver Israel from slavery. But here's something interesting. Moses didn't immediately say yes. In fact, he tried to talk God out of it. Which brings us to something many people don't realize about Moses. 4. Moses had a speech problem. You might assume the man who confronted Pharaoh was a powerful speaker. But Moses actually believed he was bad at speaking. In Exodus 4 verse 10, he told God, "I am slow of speech and tongue." Some scholars believe Moses may have had a speech impediment, possibly a stutter. So when God called him to speak to Pharaoh, Moses felt completely unqualified. But God's response was powerful. God told him that his brother Aaron would help speak for him. And this reminds us of something incredible. God doesn't choose people because they are perfect communicators. He chooses people who are willing to trust him. But the next fact about Moses might surprise you even more. 5. Moses once tried to quit his mission. Leading millions of people through the wilderness was not easy. The Israelites complained constantly about food, water, and almost everything else. At one point in Numbers 11, Moses became so overwhelmed that he cried out to God. And his prayer was shockingly honest. He said, essentially, "God, this burden is too heavy for me." Imagine that. The great leader of Israel feeling completely exhausted. But instead of rebuking Moses, God helped him. God appointed 70 elders to share the leadership burden. It's a powerful reminder that even the strongest leaders sometimes feel overwhelmed. But Moses' story still holds another mystery that few people notice. 6. The Bible says Moses was the most humble man alive. In Numbers 12:3, the Bible makes an incredible statement. It says, Moses was very humble, more than any man on the face of the earth. Think about that. This was a man who confronted Pharaoh, led a nation, performed miracles, spoke with God face to face. Yet the Bible describes him as the most humble man alive. Why? Because Moses constantly depended on God rather than his own strength. His leadership wasn't built on pride, but on surrender, and that humility shaped the rest of his life. But the final fact about Moses is one of the most mysterious moments in Scripture. 7. Moses saw the promised land, but never entered it. After leading Israel for 40 years in the wilderness, Moses finally reached the edge of the promised land. But something tragic happened. Earlier, during a moment of frustration, Moses disobeyed God by striking a rock instead of speaking to it, as instructed. Because of this, God told him he would see the land, but not enter it. So Moses climbed Mount Nebo. From that mountain, God showed him the land Israel would inherit. And there Moses died, and through them, God changes history. If you enjoyed discovering these hidden details about Moses, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves Bible stories. And tell me in the comments, which of these facts surprised you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Bible story.